Hi, I'm Tamar. You're tuned in to Soul Therapy Podcast, where we will explore and talk about what it's like being a business owner as a woman, fashion, art, what it's like being an immigrant, travel, and so much more. I invite you to join me in my journey.
So, do you remember what you asked me when you called me and you said, because Asmara is a planner, right? So she'll have a whole paper and Word and Excel done to come to a trip. She will have like
details.
she'll have everything ready. So she was asking me, da, 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 and I said, and I said, hey, we have a tour guide, so I think he has an idea because the guy's, has been there for a very long time, and I think he's toured enough Ethiopian Eritreans to know what things are special to us. So it's very easy to communicate with him and do this one. But she asked me, she said, "Where's one of the places you want to see? What do you want to do?" And what did I say?
Bethlehem.
Man,
And when it comes to a trip, especially a group trip, I like to, for all of us, because we're spending our money, this is our time, this is a trip. I want to make sure everyone in the group gets something out of it and we experience that. No one's left behind or no one's not heard or said. So it's very important for me to be like, in each trip,
yeah, you do that every
in
time
each
we take a
trip,
trip.
say, hey, what is like one or two things that you have to do? Because
On the last trip, I told her I just want to sleep.
and a
We were on the
massage
way to Africa.
and a massage and a massage
Yes,
and a massage. So and we tried to do the Zoom meeting. That didn't work because our schedules are crazy.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But we were able to get everything done, and everyone got something out of it. So each trip, I try to. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm going to do this. I want to incorporate it because again, this is our time. This is for us time to bond and learn each other and
Yeah.
be with
But what
it.
was funny about this particular question is, as most of you would know, and if you don't, then I guess this is a good way of learning too. Bethlehem is located in Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
So when I said I want to go to Bethlehem, but it's in Palestine, so I'm not sure. She was like, I don't know about this because I don't know, but we'll see. And we get to Jerusalem, we get to our hotel, and on our way back from this phenomenal experience of
day one.
day one.
That was just day one.
That was
not even a whole day.
No, that was like
2:30.
We ate. It took us about an hour and a half, 2 hours to eat, and then it was like basically from like 3:30, 4 o'clock until 9. Like we were, yeah. But we were talking about what our next day,
Would entail.
look like, yeah. And you said, well, she wants to go to Bethlehem, and I would like to see it too, but we know that it's. And the tour guide's like, oh, I got you guys, and we can go in. That going into where he was born, that low door, that archy low door, and the very steep, very small stairs.
Yes.
Like these things were tiny. So I wear a size 11 after my toe surgery, moved on to a 12 maybe. I don't know. It's way too big on me, but I'm supposed to keep it like that for a year. Stepping on them stairs, half of my foot was hanging off. So I had to go sideways. And I turn around, this girl with size 4. It's just like, bloop.
I turned sideways too.
I'm so irritated with short people right now. But anyway, so we go in, and there's this enormous amount of.
Well, you had to bow down first.
There's no other
but
way.
they did that on purpose. So before you walk into that church of Nativity, the point is, before you walk into this holy sacred place of where he was born, you must bow. And I don't know if you know it, within our church and our church, you bow before you walk in. Of course, you take off your shoes. You bow 3 times. So, and it was an Orthodox church. It's Greek.
It's a Greek church. That was a very insightful church because remember they said every king that came kept lowering the door. The door used to have this humongous arch, and every time someone else took over, they would lower the door. And now it's this tiny little door. And this is like from the gate, like just like the whole church. Oh my God, it's that. I remember my brother is 6'4". I'm 6 feet. And mom had to duck in a lot. And so I was like, and the tour guide kept saying, Tamar, watch your head. And you and I kept laughing and saying, mind your head, because that was our conversation in Zanzibar when we went to visit some of the slavery camps and stuff. But once we went in, there was another room you go to where he was actually born. So this was the barn where she kept him.
The manger.
And the manger, yeah. And that space
was tiny.
Oh my gosh. Tiny
and rushed.
And very rushed, but I was very grateful.
Yes.
For everyone looking at mom and rushing
Especially
other
our tour guide at the
people.
time.
Oh my God. And rushing people out of the store. Because some people were just being a little selfish and taking it longer. And I get it because honestly, you want to be in that space for hours because it's one of the holiest places. There's three major places for me. And this was the second church that I feel like is it's got to be one of the holiest churches. I didn't want to leave, but I mean, it's why I understood people didn't want to leave, but my mom was there and people were pushing and shoving. So it was like, I'm going to go elbow first. If you're crowded enough to the point she can't move. So you and I were literally like, and my brother's on the other side and both of our tour guides were on this. I felt connected the second time around where I was able to kneel down and pray. Right. And actually touch these spaces and then looking up and looking at the silver star. That was a moment I'm never gonna forget because as a child growing up and going to school,
we see that stuff.
Yeah, like
or even
back in Ethiopia where I was born and raised, the school, it's a Catholic school we went to, me and my siblings, and every year for Christmas they do this big theatrical thing and big stage and auditorium, and they always have these makeshift silver stars. And so as a little girl, I turned into a 10-year-old. I turned into like a 7-year-old because it reminded me of that storyline when Saint Gabriel went and told
the shepherds. And it was the exact
shepherds,
spot,
the same spot.
I'm like, this is the spot where they got the word that he's coming. It's the same star that the three wise men came and they saw and they said, what's going on over here? And it's just the word was spreading. So we're in the same spot and we're just like, so everyone knew. And it did have, I don't know, is it just me? But like I just had some remnants of like back home.
It's because that thing is so small. That thing is so small. And everybody wants to touch the barn and that stone and the area.
Because the manger isn't there anymore.
No, the manger is not there anymore.
I think the Crusaders took it, is what they said.
I believe so.
But that exact spot is still there.
And you got to remember, every time after a new leader came, things got damaged. And so they would leave a portion of something, just like the tombstone. The tombstone is, the church was built 300 years after, and it's like they destroyed a lot of things, so they cut the portion. So this space, because it had low ceiling and it was very tight, I felt like we were back home at church. In some of the churches, like small. Yeah, the smaller churches. But kneeling down and praying and having that moment I remember reaching. And I ended up bumping into your hand. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
I bumped into your hand because I didn't know you were there. Half the time I don't know who's where.
We're stuck in our zone.
And we kind of just left fingers and just did our own thing and looked at each other and crying again. Oh, here we go. And I don't know how to express the feeling. I genuinely don't know how to express the emotional entanglement within myself in these amazing points of like destination, right? And it's different emotions at every area.
And it's multiple emotions. It's not not just like one emotion. It's like, we're here. This is where this happened. You have all these things that you remember growing up, hearing the stories, and then being there, and then like you're praying and you're praising him, but then also praying for things that we're going through, to how do we overcome it, as well as some of our shortcomings, and as well as even praying for other people that are loved ones that are going through things.
When I felt rushed was when I was mentioning names in my prayers. When I'm actually calling out names and praying for them, I felt rushed because the next group is ready to do the same thing. So it's like, okay, I'm going to catch the ones I didn't call in the next prayer. It's like,
and that's what we're just like,
Bethlehem was. And then we went to, and correct me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, but Milk Grotto?
Yeah, the Milk Grotto. Grotto is grottos in English or Italian or Latin. So it's Latin versus
well, I'm
The
speaking
Grotto.
as people, so it sounds better.
I got English.
But this was another point.
I didn't know that existed. I
So,
do, but I didn't know everything.
Right. And I think that's where, when I said earlier, the stuff that I thought I knew, it was like, girl, you didn't know nothing. Because that was such. So this area, basically, or this wall, is when Mary was breastfeeding baby Jesus, milk from her breast splashed and hit the wall. And that's an area that a lot of people go to pray to. And, this could be a whole different episode, because I've had conversations with some of my American friends where they're like, why do you pray for Mary? Like, you can go directly to God, and,
But she can't.
it's different, right? I think depending where you're from, the story of Mary hits differently.
Right.
And I think part of the American and some European cultures that are not Catholic or Coptic Orthodox, specifically, doesn't include the Virgin Mary as much, or the saints. And they always think we are praying to them more than we're praying to God. And I always try to explain to people, like, that's not the case.
That's an extension.
Absolutely. He loved these people. He adored these people. He protected these people. So these are people that meant something to him. So that was his tribe. That was his tribe. I always tell you guys to find your tribe.
Find your tribe.
Yeah. So seeing that wall and touching that wall, that was another thing too. Like,
and then it's even putting it in perspective, because you're sitting here like, okay, she just had a child. Then the king at the time was killing children under the age of 2, or pregnant women, just carving it out the belly.
I heard there's a prophet being born, and
he's the next king. So he was threatened. I was like, huh? So,
as they say in other side, Herod,
yeah. So I'm trying to like convert and go back and forth. That's my issue right now. And then, so she's hiding. She has to do the bare necessities because she's a mom. Right. She's still a mom. Right. Young as she was, she's still a mom. Yeah. She's a brand new baby. She has to feed this child and protect this child. And the forces that be were coming, looking for them. And thankfully, I guess they had a plethora of family or friends to kind of help them
maneuver them to get them out of that city.
And to Egypt.
And so walking around in Bethlehem, I was really, and I don't know if you felt like that when we went to get the fresh sweet juice and stuff like that. I was really thinking, like, because we came out of the church and then we went to another old Ethiopian church, I was really thinking to myself, like, did they walk this route with, carrying the donkey, carrying them?
Right.
Like, I really was kind of like,
so this is where, and it's the narrow pathway, cobblestone, rocky, dirt road. Yeah. And I'm just like, and then when you hear the story, so when there's stories, a lot of women who are not able to have children, they go to this place and they have the like cement from the wall, or
it's like the grounded, it's like stone. A powder, but from the stone. So they kind of, and it sounds really weird because it's a humongous wall. So I don't know how they're able to scrape this off, but they, in the gift shop, you can get these, we call it sabel. I'm not 100% sure what it's called in English. Maybe we should have researched better. But, there's holy water, there's holy oil, and then there's the powder stone thing. But you're supposed to mix it with water and drink it. And I brought it to a young lady that I adore. Specifically, and I bought it for several people, but there's the one person I gave it to. I haven't gotten a chance to give it to the other people that I brought it to. But the young lady I brought it to, and I told her, please don't take this lightly.
Right.
If you're not going to use it with the actual connection of spirituality, if you're not going to use it with the faith and prayer that is required of this, if you're not going to use it for the purpose of this, please don't take it. And she grabbed me and gave me a big hug a few days ago. And she was like, I'm going to use it, and I'm going to use it as much as I can. And I gave her the holy oil that I brought as well. And she was like, I'm going to keep this in my house, and my husband and I are going to pray over this. And this is going to be what's going to connect us continuously.
Absolutely.
I felt so good that moment because, I love kids, and I've always wanted to have kids. And obviously I chose not to for health reasons. But seeing someone who wants to have a child, right? Seeing someone that deserves a child and is deserving of a child. I felt so good doing that. And I can't wait to give it to a few other people that I brought it for. But that was a beautiful moment because it wasn't about me.
Right.
You know, it was about someone else that I know wants to have a kid. So I loved those moments and I loved those experiences. And, you know, I pray that she gets to have her dream and may she have this, oh my God,
Fruitful.
amazing,
Fruitful.
you know, experience and with her husband, who's also an amazing guy. So I look forward to it. And I can't wait to, you know,
That's because
because, you know, I claim I'm going to be everybody's godfather, but then godmother, but people keep having boys and then, you know, I can't be. So they're blocking my way in a way. And I'm not trying to mention anybody or point to anybody, but like, can y'all stop having boys? Because I want a girl. And
I did mention that he can replicate what he did.
I tried.
For number 2.
And he said, it's going to be a minute.
That's what he told me.
He's sitting there shaking his head.
But I did, when I heard the story and I got there, I immediately thought of a friend who was like my sister. Her mom is like my mama. Her daddy's like my daddy, just like my parents are like her parents. Love her husband. And I remember her mom's talking and, you know, praying that you know, for a situation to happen.
Right.
So I immediately was like, okay, getting this for her.
We went greedy.
Yeah.
We went greedy. My brother was buying stuff for people. I was like, at one point we had to combine everything just to get out of there because we were taking over
all of them.
A group of people that were there doing prayers and singing. So I was like,
we gotta get out. But I made sure that I specifically, when I heard the story and what it can do, and I saw all the testimonies on the wall of the different women and families.
Yeah.
I made sure I got it.
I'm glad you did.
Yes.
We did good.
We did good. We did good. Good job.